In a Washington Post op-ed Thursday, Representative Ilhan Omar said Republicans' continued distortions of her words and perpetuation of fearing the other are deliberate attempts, to discourage calling out systems of oppression. In the op-ed, Omar said her words about dismantling the whole system of oppression were manipulated and deceptively edited in order for right-wing media outlets and President Donald Trump to push a divisive agenda. Omar said Donald Trump Jr. and Fox News' Tucker Carlson were among the people who seized on a 20-second clip published by the Republican National Committee on the topic. In the piece, Omar wrote that she believes the president and his followers are pitting minority groups against each other in order to advance their cause. Fear of the other, whether it is someone of a different country of origin, a different race or religion, stems, I believe, from the myth of scarcity. Omar said, this mentality pits minority groups against one another in a fight for scraps, and those who benefit from the status quo are happy to see us distracted and bickering. Particularly during a pandemic, we all can worry too much about what we lack instead of seeing our futures as linked and interdependent. She went on to say there exists a double standard for women. Oh my God. For women and people of color who hold office. She blamed the media for acting as an accelerant for that double standard. So the fear of the other actually is something I believe is very true because, and I've mentioned this before, one of the things I would hear often when I would look for employment was that, oh, if you were this race, they would pick you. And I said, if I'm not able to get hired, it's not the fault of the people who are already employed. It's the fault of the employers for not allowing me to have a position there. I'm not going to blame the people with no power for trying to work within a system that has never allowed them to actually be able to influence it in any, meaningful way. But that is the fear of the other. Oh my God, this other person is going to take my job. We're not going to blame the people who enable you to not have your position anymore or lay you off. We're going to blame those who can't control if they get hired or not. Makes total sense. But she does have one sentence in here I really like. The more we listen to those with background and circumstances other than our own, the more we can find parallels to our own experience. That's why we cannot afford to be silent about systems of oppression. What I think is really funny is that a lot of the stuff I discuss on here, not even politically related, but just, the employment thing, the VA thing, the chick thing, just all these different topics, it seems like people have almost a disconnect where unless they can see themselves as having had the same experience, they just choose to, play the blame game and direct it toward me. And I always said that it befuddles me that the one person trying to change things gets blamed for them being the same. But it's really sad that, this line exists in here, and she has a lot of supporters who will, go, oh, she's so smart, but then they won't actually pay attention to the things that she's writing, which this is actually something I really agree with. And I wish more people would actually do that instead of just saying it. So, yeah, I don't dismiss that they're taking her words and cutting them into little pieces and starting flame wars over that. I just wish we could get people paying attention to all of what someone says instead of a little small part of it. Or at least if they do pay attention to a small part of it, they don't try to misconstrue it for their own purposes. Like a certain radio host and a certain son of a certain failed president.